Okay, we're going to start mounting this to the bracket. It's a pretty simple process. I'm going to start with my 1/4 bolts. These actually came in with the controller itself. And I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom bolts in first. Extremely loose. I'm thinking a washer on this is going to be a little overkill on the front side, so we're not going to do a washer. And if I don't end up liking it, I'll redo it. Okay. So make sure these are pushed out. Have your next set of bolts ready to go. I've tightened the lid down on my controller, and now all I have to do is take it, and you want your cords to come behind. Wait a second here. Get this cord out of the way. Alright, there we go, that's better. Okay, and then this just fits right down on those bolts. There we go. So that kind of holds it in place for you to get up here and get these bolts on. Now hopefully my positioning turned out the way, in a way it's going to work pretty well for me. The cool part about mounting it on that wood is I can move it if I want to move it over, if it seems to be in the way. But I kind of wanted to keep this thing as compact as possible because I am eventually going to try to turn it into a horizontal grinder as well. So there we go. So I'll just have to go and tighten all that down, and that's the way it looks mounted. So we're getting there, getting exciting, guys. Okay, so I've run the motor control wire underneath. Now I have to make a measurement, give myself plenty to work with. Pretty simple, and I'll just cut it. So there's my end. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put this on first, guys, remember. This is going to be a little tight. And I don't know if this fitting is going to fit. Let's give her a shot. Okay, I got this all taken care of off camera. I stripped back my wire after I made my measurement. Got this all tightened down. This is a NEMA 4 fitting. It came. I ordered them with the actual controller. Got my rubber gasket on here. This will give you your kind of your liquid tight. Keep the grinding dust out, any water flinging around when you're using water on your knives. And then just feed that in like so. Get it set. And I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to run this cord. I'll figure that out later. But for right now, we're just going to get it put in place. Then just drop this down on top. And we'll tighten that down and we'll get to wiring this up. Okay, I've already got it closed up. I went ahead and wired it. Really didn't want to show you exactly what I was doing because Each motor may be different, so just follow the recommendations from the manufacturer and the schematic on the plate and just go that direction. Make sure you get good tight connections. Make sure you run a ground in here. There is a ground screw in there. Make sure you ground it up. So there's the finished unit. So pretty much the whole grinder is done minus the tooling arms. So I'm going to talk to you about a tooling arm that I made up, and we'll put that on and maybe we'll get this thing fired up. Okay, so here's my first tooling arm. This is a really basic, simple tooling arm. Like I told you before, I got the multi-platen and the flat platen for this unit. This tooling arm I decided to use just aluminum. This is 1.5 inches. This again was another recommendation made by Travis Wirtz from Wirtz Machine Works. He uses aluminum 1 1/4 in all his. He actually tried to talk me into converting this to a 1 1/4, but I just figured it'd be easier to keep it stock and use 1.5. So this is just 6061 aluminum. I bought it, REMS at my metal supplier. Drilled a 1/2 inch hole with a 1/2 inch bolt and bolted this on. I bolted my 8 inch contact wheel. Again, this is a Beaumont Metal Works contact wheel. There might be cheaper ones out there, but they're hard to find. Again, it's kind of an industry standard. A lot of guys use these. There's a lot of good stuff out there about them, so I trust it. So again, it's just bolted onto this multi-platen that, if you remember, we threaded earlier, and it's all set to go. So I'm going to set the camera back up on the tripod, and we're going to put a belt on this thing and start working on the tracking real quick before we plug it in and try to fire it up. Okay guys, got a belt on it, got everything adjusted. I had to add some washers to the idler wheel to get the right distance. Seems to be tracking okay. So what we're going to do now is, the last thing I forgot to mention is the power cord. My 220 is a little ways away from where I'm going to be putting this, so I've got quite a bit of cord. But as soon as I get everything set up, I'm gonna dump a 220 outlet right by the grinder, so I'll shorten this up. But I do like to use these twist locks. That's just my own personal preference, especially I already have an extension cord set up for this. But use any 220, 20 amp capable plug you want that will fit your 12 gauge wire. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get this thing clamped down to the workbench and get it plugged in, and we'll fire it up. Alright guys, I got it plugged in. As you can see, I got power lights. So we're going to stand back and fire this thing up. Alright, here goes. Set it on low. Hit start. All lights are green. Well, it's running really quiet. I'm pretty happy so far. See how it tracks. Tracks decent. That's 100%. Very quiet. Looks like everything's holding up. Obviously, I'm going to have to go back through and tighten everything. Make sure we're good after a few runs. And then I got to get to work on the tooling arm for the tool rest, and I got to finish up the flat platen. Alright guys, well, a little sweaty. It's pretty hot out here. It's been fun. Got it done, got it running. I'm pretty happy with it. Can't wait to get my first knife rolling on this thing and work her out and see how she does for me. So I appreciate you guys watching this and going along for the ride. It was kind of frustrating at times, pretty fun. Really go into this thing with your eyes open. Understand that unless you're really going to skimp on parts like your motor, your controller, your wheels, you're not saving a whole lot of money going this way versus maybe getting a stock KMG or something like that. But it gave me a lot of insight on what a grinder needs to be, and I really enjoyed doing the build. I really enjoyed learning everything I can about it. So I'll start giving it a workout. Maybe down the road I'll give a report back. I don't know if I'll post about the tooling arms. We'll see. I want to get rolling here, and it is kind of difficult to film every process you're doing. So once I start building those tooling arms, maybe I'll film those up real quick and I'll post them up to see how, so you guys can see how they're built. So anyways, thanks again. I'm glad you guys came along for the ride, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.